This is a special report from Fox 35 News, tracking the tropics.
Hey there, everybody. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Noah Bergen here. Thanks for checking out our tropical update on our website, our apps, Fox 35 Orlando, on your phone, TV, whatever device you're using, and also on our YouTube channel. Appreciate you watching on our YouTube. By the way, don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, meteorologist Noah Bergen. On Twitter, I provide a lot more in-depth stuff through there. And if you ever have just a question about anything, you've got something going on, you want more data, you shoot me a message. I'm on there all the time when I can be. And then also my email, noah.bergen@fox.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also download the Fox Local app, Fox Local. You download that on your smart TV. You can watch our content for free if you're in the state of Florida or anywhere beyond. So here's your tropical update for the 12th of August. Hope you had a great weekend, by the way. So here's the latest with Ernesto, which currently is a tropical storm. The center of it's about 1,800 miles southeast of Orlando. You're looking at the water vapor imagery. So this is just telling you scientifically how much water vapor and moisture is in the air. So green, a lot of it, it's humid, moist air, clouds, rain, thunderstorms. Black is just kind of neutral, and then orange is really dry air with a lower dew point. Notice there's a large area of green. It's kind of disorganized. There's a little bit of dry air out ahead of it, but that's not going to really hamper this. Here's the infrared satellite. Remember, when you look at this, it often makes the rounds online and on TV and on social media. When any outlet or meteorologist or news source shows a hurricane, they're showing you the infrared satellite. Remember, what that is showing you is literally the temperature of the cloud top. So the taller the thunderstorms get, remember, temperature decreases when you go up in altitude on Earth. That's how the atmosphere works. Once you get to the stratosphere, it goes the other way briefly, but that's discussion for another day. The clouds go up taller, they get colder. So the colder the cloud tops, the brighter the colors on the infrared satellite. This is not telling you, although there is correlation, it's not telling you the radar. This is not Doppler radar. So if you ever hear somebody say, look at the radar, that's meteorologically incorrect. This is the temperature of the cloud tops telling you how intense the thunderstorms are, intense the convection is. The taller they are, the colder they are, the brighter the colors. So this is the IR satellite. You notice there's a couple of complexes. There's a big burst of thunderstorms here, a big burst here. You kind of see some outer inflow banding here and a little bit of banding here. But all in all, it's not super organized yet, but seeing these two little trailing areas of convection up here kind of tells me that this is getting ready to really strengthen. Sustained at 40 tonight as of Monday night. But one thing I want to make mention, shout out to the Hurricane Center of folks and others who have brought this to my attention. This forward speed of 28, when I saw it, I was like, man, that's fast for this early in the year and where it is, which actually turned out to be meteorologically correct. You don't really normally see a storm moving this fast in this spot this early in the season. So really, it's a fast mover right now. Now, it's going to become a hurricane, but as of right now, I've updated our naming list. We've now gone to the E-name storm, and we're about 3 to 4 weeks ahead of when the first E-name storm typically does occur. By the way, I've had a few people email and message about what's the outlook for the rest of hurricane season. Well, we're not even anywhere close to the halfway point yet. We're not even to halftime of hurricane season this year. And in fact, about 85 to 90% statistically of all tropical activity in any given year, the average occurs after this point. So if that gives you perspective, we've only had about 15 to 20, maybe 15%, 10 to 15%, I should say, of the activity that's normal through this point in the year. So here's Ernesto. Over the next few days, it strengthens, it gathers, it starts to get its act going. Here's Puerto Rico. Any interest, family, or friends in Puerto Rico? Now, this is nowhere near a Maria level storm from a few years back. That was a high-end hurricane, but still, this could end up overperforming this to be a Cat 1 when it passes. It's going to be still a lopsided storm, so the traditional rule that you've probably heard many times, and me especially, I'll tell you this often, how the right side is the dirty side, especially that northeast quadrant with the rain, wind, and tornadoes and flooding. There will be a lot more impact than there normally would be on the left side of the track, which is for Puerto Rico Tuesday night into Wednesday. So they'll get plenty of tropical impact out of this. It's not going to be extreme or catastrophic, but there will be flooding. There will be the chance of some water spouts around here, on these outer bands. There could be maybe half a foot of rain in spots maybe a couple of gusts to hurricane force Tuesday night into Wednesday. Then from there, the closest pass the center makes is about 800 miles southeast of the Space Coast late in the day on Thursday. Then from there, it continues to strengthen. This is a Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 2. By 2 o'clock Saturday, sustained winds of 110, gusts to 130. Any interest in Bermuda should keep an eye out for possibly a hurricane strike. And I do think the intensity of this will come up. I think there's more room for this to go stronger than weaker. So it wouldn't shock me if this ends up being, in fact, I probably expect it to at some point get to Category 3 strength, which would be sustained winds of 115 plus as we go into the upcoming weekend. The only real impact this will have on the east coast of Florida is really big surf, maybe 4 to 8 footers, 5 to 10 footers Friday and Saturday. So if you're a surfer, okay, but there's very high rip current risk in this scenario with this long period swell onshore on Florida's east coast Friday, Saturday. So really high rip current risk, rough swimming weather. If you're a surfer, okay, it's one thing, but there'll be big, large wave breakers from Ernesto. So here's the spaghetti models tonight. Notice a hard right turn, which is good because we talked about this on these videos last week with all those graphics. If you remember, I took all that time to draw them for you, and I'll show you one of them in a second. If there had not been a trough of low pressure in the Northeast, this thing probably would keep going and would have been a Florida impact. It maybe would have missed. It's hard to tell for sure, so I'm not going to act like I know. Because I'm just kind of doing an educated guess. But if we didn't have that trough of low pressure up here to pull this north and hook it out to sea, this thing probably would keep going on this northwest trajectory and become a hurricane. And it would have been a much different forecast for Florida. So kind of unusual in some ways how early in the year this strong of a system is recurving like this. Generally, this is later in the year being the tropical season. But there's all the spaghetti models for you with Ernesto. So here's our Fox model. Notice late Tuesday into Wednesday, here's Puerto Rico. A lot of rain, some strong winds. It crosses the island and it rapidly intensifies. The water here is extremely warm. So here we are Thursday evening. Notice there's Florida on the left, and notice a large eye. Our Fox model has done fantastic so far this year. Like all models, it has pros and cons, but so far this year it's been on a heater with Beryl. It was really one of the first models. There's a couple of the proprietary ones that picked up on it too, but it was one of the very few that picked up on Beryl going into Houston way early in advance. It did good with Debbie. It was a little too strong with Debbie, but the track it did really good on. And with this one, it's got a huge eye. Look at the diameter of that eye. Very large eye with the hurricane here Friday. There you see safely east of Florida. But what this will do is help draw down some lower humidity into Florida. I'll show you that more in a second. But there you see it goes towards Bermuda by Saturday into Sunday. So here's the humidity plot with our Fox model. And what I want you to notice is there's the hurricane. Now, because of this, it's not rare. I don't want to say it's a rare pattern, but it's a little uncommon for this part of the year that you see this hurricane here. Remember, that's rotating like this counterclockwise. That component of the wind over here is going to help pull down unusually dry air, low humidity from New England right into central Florida. If you follow these arrows back from Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tampa, look where they come from. Down east Maine. So a very rare 2-day stretch of hardly any rain chances in central Florida. Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, Melbourne. Hardly any rain chances. In fact, most places are probably dry Thursday, Friday. The humidity noticeably comes down, and so do the temperatures, just maybe near 90, as opposed to 95 plus like it's been. And also fewer clouds. It'll be mostly sunny. So an unusual summer break, if you will, and that's thanks in part due to how Ernesto is influencing the weather pattern that will briefly give Florida a reprieve. So I mentioned why the hook to the right. Well, there's high pressure over Texas, and Florida's partly over that, and there's this trough up here. To get a big hurricane into the east coast of Florida, I think Andrew, Gene, there's a few others, but Andrew and Gene was 04 into like West Palm, Brevard County, Indian River County, and came up to Orlando. That was part of the 3 hurricane season, Charlie 04 on the other side that impacted central Florida. But to get a big hurricane into Florida's east coast, you kind of need the opposite pattern, if that makes sense. You need the polarity of this to be flipped. So you need high pressure up here and a trough over there, because if there was high pressure here rotating like this, think about it like this, right? Take this blue H and put it right here where my hand is. If the air was going like this up here, what do you have on the bottom of it? Easterlies. You got east to west winds like this. That is how you would direct a hurricane into the east coast of Florida and prevent it from hooking north, is you need a high pressure dome over New England. If you go back and look, all the hurricanes that have hit the east coast of Florida happened when there was a hot period and a high pressure dome over New England. Boston, New York, Hartford, New Hampshire, Syracuse, Cleveland, Columbus. It was really hot in New England and eastern Canada because there was a high pressure dome, and that prevented the hook north. And instead of hooking north, those hurricanes, Andrew in 92, Gene in 04, just steamrolled into the east coast of Florida. So you really kind of have it's the pattern just flipped in a mirror to get an east coast Florida storm. So we're thankful for that, because had this trough not been up here, maybe it would have even come, maybe not make landfall in Florida, but it would have come a little closer and maybe influence the Carolinas. But that trough digs and steers Ernesto, more or less, this is the graphic I made last week, but more or less just so you visually see the steering currents for Ernesto. So here's the models quickly. Here's the European model. Now the models are still split on where it'll go in relation to Bermuda. Some are east of the island, some are west of the island, but it would be Saturday into Sunday if Bermuda gets a hurricane strike. If you're cruising this week, there'll be a huge surf, large breaking waves all the way to the entire eastern seaboard. But out in the Atlantic, closer to the eye, there'll be 20 to 40 foot surf. Yes, 20 to 40 foot surf around the eye, and even broadly around the big wind field, maybe 10 to 25 footers. So a huge area in the Atlantic, a very rough surf if you're cruising this week, and that will spread into the Bahamas. And then you see it gets picked up by the jet stream as we head into the following week. Here's the GFS model, kind of different, kind of, sort of. You notice it goes a little bit of a weird dance. It kind of goes northeast, then north, and hook. There's a little hook around Bermuda. I should tell you that if you're in Nova Scotia, down East Maine, Canadian Maritimes, you should still watch this, because there are some models that take this a lot closer to even hitting Nova Scotia as we head into late next weekend. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But that, my friends, is your update for right now on what will be Hurricane Ernesto. A large surf to the east coast of Florida and the entire eastern seaboard Friday into the weekend. If you're cruising, very rough surf. Puerto Rico gets hit Tuesday night. Bermuda could get hit Friday night, Saturday into Sunday. But all things considered, we're fortunate the steering patterns are the way they are. They just happen to align with this, because very easily this could have been a direct impact for the United States if things had not been like this. So we'll cross our fingers that they all do this. I don't think that's going to be the case. But we will cross our fingers, of course, that all the coming hurricanes the rest of the year hook out to sea. But we will take them as Mother Nature sends them our way. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And for now, I'm Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Berg, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day.